just tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I'm 45 years old. I was born here in Selangor, actually in PJ, Asutan Hospital. At the age of 2, my parents moved to Kota Baru to do business. And as a result, I grew up more or less as Kelantanese Chinese. And at the age of 12, I went to an international school in Singapore. And then went to England to finish my law degree. And came back and practiced in Kota Baru for a few years. That's where my family business is. In 1995, I moved to KL. So I've been here in KL for almost close to 20 years.
So, would you say you come from a pretty well-to-do family?
My father, my father is a businessman, and he is quite a successful businessman. But he had very humble origins, I would say. I think he started, he doesn't have a lot of education, and he started off working at the age of 11. So I would say I would have bridged both worlds, the working class, and also at a later part of my father's life, of course, he's a successful man. So I think it's true that I come from a reasonably privileged family, but I still have roots with the working class people.
How long were you in Kota Baru?
In Kota Baru, from the age of about 2 years old, 1 year plus to 2 years old, to about 12. Then I moved to United World College in Singapore to pursue my high school.
Your BM is pretty good. I mean, I've been to your press conferences.
Oh, you have? Oh, thank you.
Which is a far cry from your predecessor,
yeah. Well, I know Mr. Loh Gwo Burne quite well. I did assist him a couple of times when he was in Parliament, but I know that he struggles with BM. Yeah. My Malay is because I'm Kelantanese Chinese in some extent, to some extent, and I speak Kecek Latte lah, yeah. So I'm used to the Malay language, and in fact in my high school, I did the International Baccalaureate, and they have a program on literature, and I love literature. I did English literature and also Malay literature. So I read Usman Awang, Ranjau Sepanjang Jalan, Srengenge. I know Latif Muhyiddin's poetry. So I specialize in both. So I think my Malay and the fact my attachment to the country comes really from this literature background which I developed in high school, ironically in Singapore.
How's the Chinese?
Chinese is another question. I went to Singapore, but it's an international school, so everything was taught in English. So my Chinese is rudimentary at best, I would imagine so. Yeah. Mandarin, I'm learning. I have a teacher to teach me Mandarin, and that's a bit of a struggle. At the age of 45, relearning the language is a bit difficult. My mother is Cantonese, so I grew up as a Cantonese boy, so I speak Cantonese. But since I left the house to go to a boarding school at age 12, a lot of people comment that my Cantonese is the level of a 12-year-old boy, so I will have to admit that my Cantonese is at that level.
How many children do you have, and what are the ages?
I have very young kids. I got 2 babies at the moment. I have a 2-year-old son and a 6-month-old baby girl. My wife is a political economist. She's very intelligent.
Was she surprised that you decided to be a candidate this time around?
Well, I think we all expected it, yeah. But I've always told Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, I work under his department directly as an economic policy advisor. I've always told him that I prefer a technocrat post rather than a political post, and I was more leaning towards hopefully a senator post. But you have to do what the party asks you to do. Becoming a member of parliament or standing for member of parliament is something I'm ready to do. So I will go all out and try to win the hearts and minds of the people in Kelana Jaya.
Did your wife require a lot of convincing, or was she very supportive once you decided that this is what you want to do?
We got married on the basis that she knew I was interested in politics and also helping out in PKR. So I suppose that's the agreement that we had. Having said that, we were expecting the election to be last year or a bit earlier than last year, and it hasn't happened. And of course, this is a full-time job and it's an unpaid job. It's almost a volunteer job to be at the beck and call of Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim to work out on economic policies. So the stress on the marriage plus new babies, yes, there is a bit of stress in that, but we are a team. We are very united. I mean, we love each other dearly. So she accepts that, and I think she's helping in the planning of this election. So I suppose she's totally convinced to go all the way.
And she's working in the private sector.
She's a consultant. She's quite well known in her special field, right? But of course, we don't want to disclose too much on this matter. Well, I'm a policy maker at the party level. I work very closely with Rafizi Ramli on a lot of the so-called background policy work. I took part in some of the manifesto thing. I would admit that the manifesto contribution not too much. There was a team that worked hard on that. I probably contributed something like 5 to 10% of the manifesto. But the bulk of the belanjawan, the bulk of economic policies, definitely is work of I had a lot of hand in it. Let's put it that way. There are always a team of advisors, but primarily it will be Rafizi and me driving all this. So if you are going to stand in Parliament, you need to be well versed in policy matters. So that's something I will bring to Kelana Jaya. The other thing is, of course, to win an election, you have to show both that you're competent. And I hope that the people of Kelana Jaya will go to my website and see all my press statements and the work that I've done. It's a simple website, www.wongchen.com. And hopefully they will be convinced that I'm competent to become a member of Parliament. And the other thing is to generate this warmth that comes from me as a father of 2 young kids, as a Malaysian citizen, as someone who likes the arts. And I hope to go down on the ground and meet people and tell them who I am, what kind of convictions I have, what kind of values do I hold. So I hope to do that quickly within these 2 weeks of campaigning. And hopefully with this combination of both competency and warmth, I should be able to convince people to put me to Parliament. It's a tough fight. I don't deny it. It's going to be a tough competition. Yeah? Loh Singkok is a senior member of MCA. He used to be a member of Parliament 1 term, and he's an overall nice guy. He's a nice fellow from what I've heard. I would like to see him on the ground and buy him a cup of coffee, and we sit down and talk about how to conduct a gentleman contest in this manner. I think in 2013, people expect a lot more from the candidate. I think the party chose me because they think I should be able to deliver the expectation. And I would like my campaign, part of my real campaign, is to hold dialogues, not just ceramah, not just to tell people or talk to people about things, but to allow people to ask me questions openly, and I want to answer them directly and with conviction. And please come to my dialogues. I've planned about 6 dialogues in Subang Jaya area alone, and a lot more in the Desa Mentari side. And by talking to them and showing them I'm capable, I hope I can meet the expectation of what a member of Parliament should be, not just stand in just because the sentiment is angry and it's not going to happen. 2008 is not going to happen again. So we cannot make the citizens feel that they're just there to give a support to an opposition. Okay, Kelana Jaya will have both local community issues that need to be addressed and also national issues that need to be fought in Parliament on their behalf. The way I look at it, national issues like corruption, poor governance, cost of living, expensive cars and lack of affordable houses, all these need to be resolved at the national level. And as Member of Parliament, I will fight for these kind of issues. But of course, at the heart of it is the community concerns. Now, community issues in Kelana Jaya is quite easy to identify. If you drive to work and drive back from work, traffic congestion is a big issue. Yeah? Crime is a big issue because if you go around Subang Jaya, you can see a lot of people live in guarded community. Now, guarded community is not free. They have to pay. It's an additional tax on their livelihood. So if we address traffic in Subang Jaya area and also in Desa Mentari and also the Sri Setia side, and we address the crime issues both in Sri Setia and also Subang Jaya, then we can do what we're meant to do as Member of Parliament, which is to help the people. Now, crime is very simple to resolve. It's not simple as in easy to implement, but just making sure that the government procurement side for the police is done in a proper manner, so that the walkie-talkies that the police use is at a good price and actually works. or even making sure the armaments that they have, or the cars that they use, all these logistics to be resolved. Second thing is to redeploy a very heavy special branch, right, who is doing political work for the government to go back and do actual fighting crime. So that's easy solution to that. And traffic congestion is also equally easy. You have to do a traffic study on all the federal roads, right? Adjusting federal roads traffic flow will try to alleviate some of these problems of traffic congestion. Hannah Yeoh has done a lot of good work looking at the state roads and doing proper traffic flow studies, and she's managed to unclog some of these main arteries going to Subang Jaya.